Year in and year out, every single year. I always hear the noise too. People always talk about it. Oh, this is the year the Los Angeles Angels are going to get it done. Every year I look up at the top of the board and I see Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, MVP favorites, yet this team can't even sniff the playoffs. 13-1 to win the West, 28-1 to win the pennant, 55-1 to win the World Series. Of course, you got to make the playoffs to win the World Series. 73 wins last season. Started off strong, and I was starting to feel them. I was like, here we go, man. Are you kidding me? They're like 9 or 10 games above 500. I remember you came on this show, and we talked about a couple of pitchers that were going to regress, and what happened? They regressed. Mike Trout hit the IL, and the team could never recover. But when Trout came back, he was just as good as he's always been. I think he actually would have hung around with Aaron Judge for that home run race at the time. He went on a hell of a run. I think he had homers in like 7 or 8 games when he returned from the back injury. But talk me through it, man. I've heard all of it. I'm obviously pessimistic, but talk me through this Angels squad and any reason to believe that they could hang around.
I think maybe I'm a little more optimistic than I was last year. We talked about how they had like a historically horrible lineup after their first, after the bottom 6 spots in their order was one of the worst in baseball history. So they made some moves this year that I do think add a little bit of depth to the lineup. They didn't make the big splash, but I like the Drury signing. Renfroe's another solid bat. We'll see what they can get out of Rendon. And you mentioned Trout just going absolutely bananas when he came back. His home run prop this year is listed at 40, and I'm too scared to bet the under. right. I feel like it's over or nothing. And then another guy, Jared Walsh, right? He's penciled in at the 7th spot right now. He was a guy that we were expecting big things out of last year, and he had I didn't realize how, serious his injury was. He said it was tightness in his neck and shoulder that caused tingling all the way down to his fingertips. He had to have a rib removed in the off season. So honestly, there's no chance he can be there is a chance, but you can't expect him to be as bad as he was last year. So the lineup should be decent, at least better than it was last year. And I like some of the moves that they made in the bullpen, signing some solid arms. And when you look at their rotation, man, I kind of like it, right? You like Ohtani, I like Sandoval, Suarez as well. Detmers really, after that trip to the minors last year, broke out, and he looks like he could be a really solid 2 or 3 for them. I don't want to, seem like I'm hopping on the Angels bandwagon, but
sounds like it.
If Ohtani and Trout stay healthy, yes, they could finish above 500. Now, also, I feel like if they're, even battling, to be around 500, not necessarily in playoff contention, I wonder if they do trade Ohtani. It doesn't really, there's I don't want to say no chance, but it's really unlikely that he re-ups with them. It really sounds like he wants to hit free agency and kind of see what's there, and he's going to get a record-breaking contract. So if the Angels are, 6 or 7 back, they know they don't have a chance of signing this guy, which they kind of don't. They really should look into trading him.
I think it's everything that I've heard lately. All signs point to him definitely testing free agency. Definitely. His agent came out just last week and said that Ohtani has deserved the right to test free agency and see what is out there. And there's some reports, $500 million. And I kind of believe those reports. Easy. What he can do with the bat and with his arm is pretty electric. So clearly the Angels need to make some noise. They need to they're in a tough spot. They're in a tough spot because I think that the organization they want to keep him. They bring in so much money too from a revenue side. The tickets, when they have Ohtani nights, they have all these things that, bring in so much more revenue. And what I've noticed from them as well, and maybe I'm looking into it a little bit too much. I don't know if I told you this, but they don't have any Ohtani bobblehead nights in the second half of the season. You can laugh about that all you want, but to me, that's is he even going to be an Angel in the second half of the season? Because if you're the organization and you're thinking, listen, you're not going to make the playoffs again if you're getting all these injuries, you just don't want to lose him for nothing. All these good hitting prospects players get traded for 3 or 4 prospects. How many could you get for a guy that can hit and pitch? Could you get 6? Could you get 5 or 6 prospects? Or will the team be aggressive getting him, knowing that he is going to actually test free agency? I think he's probably done in LA. At least in Anaheim. I think he could be a Dodger. I think he could be a Met. I think those are strong possibilities, but maybe one more go for both of these guys. I do like some of the moves that they made as well, like the offense. You mentioned Drury. Can we bring that board one more time, Colin? Just kind of roll through some of these. So Drury's a guy that they can move around the diamond all over the place. You see the first, second, third eligibility. He can really play all over. So he gives them a little bit of flexibility in case a guy like Rendon. And for Anthony Rendon, I mean, look how far he's fallen down. I mean, draft boards. Like, for example, 238. This guy's not even getting thought about because since he's been with the Angels, 3 years, 52 games, 58 games, and 47 games. It's not even a full season. It's like basically a full season in 3 years. So he's really battled through some injuries. I love what you said about Walsh. I was going to bring that up as well. Some significant injuries from him. He sounds like he's healthy and ready to go. Taylor Ward atop the lineup. Mike Trout, Ohtani, Rendon. Renfroe can give you some pop. Drury with some flexibility, also a little bit of pop in his bat, and then Jared Walsh, and we'll see with Logan O'Hoppe as well. Who they picked up, I think, was a pretty decent trade in the Brendan Walsh thing. But Tyler Anderson, we don't expect the same type of season from him this year, right? Last year, 2.57 ERA and a 4.10 xFIP.
No chance we'll see that again. But again, like he learned to. What was he throwing the what's it called, the sweeper with the Dodgers, I think.
Sweeper,
so yes,
yeah,
he's not going to put up a FIP of 3 again, but again, it should be like no higher than 4 probably, and it's a good addition for them, right? These are the type of solid, maybe not superstars, but these are the exact kind of players they need in their lineup and their rotation. Yeah, dude, I really think that Ohtani is going to come down to probably like the Padres, the Mets, maybe the Dodgers will throw around some money. Now we saw the Nationals trade Soto, I guess a couple years before he hit free agency, so they got a pretty good package for him. But even for the Angels to get anything, I think would be beneficial, and not to necessarily have him walk like the Nationals lost Harper. But then that also makes me wonder if they do trade Ohtani, like what happens to Trout? Like he's getting up there in age as well. Like I would if I'm him, I kind of want to be like, hey, well, if you're going to trade him, like send me to somewhere where I can actually win some games as well.
He had his opportunity, man. He could have left. He could have left. He could have went to the Phillies. Like he could have went there, hometown boy, could have went to Philadelphia, decided to re-up. And I think he's a Halo for life, whether he wants to be or not. I think he's kind of stuck, but man, it's a really tough spot because if you're finally hanging, if you are around a playoff spot come trade deadline, like, what do you do if you're the Angels? Do you finally make a put? Like, do you keep them? Do you add? Are you buyers? You say, let's make this push. And then we haven't seen these two in the playoffs. Heck, we've only seen 3 playoff games from Mike Trout over his whole career. And that happened back in, I think, 2014. Like, it's been a long time since we've seen this. So it's a tough spot for the organization. I think that they're going to end up losing him for nothing. I think that they're going to be around a playoff spot come trade deadline, and I think that they're just going to hang on to him, hoping that they could, 1, make the playoffs, keep them happy, show them that they are competitive, and 2, I don't know, man.
Well, that's the other thing. It's like, what are they going to like? I don't think they have anyone to trade to become buyers, right? Their system isn't good enough. Where I don't think they have. Like, I haven't looked into it that closely, but I don't think they have anyone that someone else, would really want. And I hate to do this to you. I know you're wearing the Eagles hat, but yeah, the joke is that Trout's been to significantly more Eagles playoff games and, playoff games of his own.
It's true. He's always at the games. He's always there at the end zone. He has been more Eagles playoff games than Halos. We're done with the Halos, but Trout 40 homers and 499 plate appearances last year. Pretty spectacular stuff. I do like a lot of their pieces. I think Hunter Renfroe and Drury are really good targets, and I love Patrick Sandoval. I think he's their second best pitcher behind Shohei Ohtani, who is favored, by the way, to win the MVP. And I think he should have won it last year. And I think if Judge didn't have the historic season, he probably would have, because a guy that's going to chime in with over 130 strikeouts, win double-digit, games, and also give you 25 homers and steal 10 bags. It's just something we've never seen before.
Honestly, like that's what has me kind of staying away from the MVP and the Cy Young market. It's just like Ohtani probably deserves, maybe not the Cy Young, but he deserves like the MVP award. I don't even want to get mixed up into it. Like, yeah, I agree with you. I would have given it to Ohtani last year as well, even though Judge hit 62 home runs or whatever it was. And I know people will disagree with that, but hey.
Yeah, I know. You just give it to him every year? Do you just name the award after him and then give it to somebody else? Because honestly, he is the MVP of the league. Whether they make it or not, he's the most valuable player in baseball. And I think that's what the award is, last time I checked. But